Hey, welcome back to Pittsburgh Sports Now. We have another edition of this. We got you off guard here. This isn't Hoop Scoop with Doug Biega. We have a new new show. We're always trying to think different things here. That's a familiar face on the left. On the right, you should know him because he's the owner of Beaver County Auto. That's PJ Latsko. And we're going to start a new show here, and we're going to show you how these guys know more than just basketball and cars. We're going to broaden the horizon here, and we're going to start a show today called The Sports Drive with PJ and Doug. And I prepared them with, by the way, I'm Mike Vikovkian. I'm going to, I gave these guys 6 topics, and we're going to bounce them around, and it's going to be more than just college. We're going to talk professional sports, and occasionally we'll get into college when warranted. But let's start off, guys, with, we're going to lead off with you here, Doug. Football camp, Steelers are going to be going to mini camp here soon, this weekend actually. And Steelers are going to be on the front page of all the papers here coming up here. And Ben and Tomlin will be the guys under the microscope. No Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown. We know how Steeler fans are in this town. Who do you guys believe has the most pressure? We know the Steelers as a team always have pressure. But of those two, who is greater pressure, do you believe, this year, Ben or Tomlin?
Well, it's a really great question. I would think neither one of them have any financial pressure. You're talking about guys, Ben just signed a 3-year, $80 million contract, so there is no financial pressure. But if someone is going to lose their job, it's usually the coach if something goes wrong, right? The leader is always
Can't fire all the players,
right? Especially not a Hall of Fame quarterback. So if there is pressure, I would kind of sort of think Ben's would be an ego-driven pressure to show that he was not made by having Antonio Brown. He was not made by having Le'Veon Bell as a back, to see that he could do it with other guys, which he has proven throughout his career. But now he's up there in years, and what happened in the offseason. So his leadership was questioned. Both those guys took a beating in national media as far as their leadership goes. Tomlin was running too loose a ship. Was Ben a quality leader? So there's a lot of pressure on both of those guys to sort of validate their resumes, I would think.
I think they're equally. I think they both have equal pressure.
It's not going to be easy for either one of them this year.
You know, from being a coach, and when you coached high school basketball, would you have 13, 14, 15 guys?
Yeah.
And how many coaches? You got to manage the egos. I think Tomlin's biggest job is he has to manage 53 different egos on guys that
millionaires, not kids that you can tell what to do. He's dealing with guys that make a lot more money than he does.
A lot more money than he does.
Not more money than you make, but they make
and they have a lot of free time. I mean, the football players have a lot of free time. They are big social media guys.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
And, I mean, that would drive me nuts. I have 150 employees, but I don't have guys with the egos that – my guys want to sell cars and win the car game. I don't think all these guys are necessarily thinking team has to win.
I want to ask you, PJ, if you're Art Rooney, this is the year that the Steelers usually extend Mike Tomlin's contract.
Yeah.
In light of all the turmoil, quote turmoil, going on, and who knows would you stay with your policy in the way you've always done it and extend
I would, because I don't think they'd get anybody better. I don't think he's the whole problem. I mean, by far. I've dealt with some of the players as far as doing TV commercials, and I've been around them. I sell them cars. They like Mike Tomlin. They think he's a great coach.
They're going to extend him. The Steelers, they don't go through coaches. They're going to extend him. And what he's the most guilty of is expecting grown men to act like grown men.
Yeah. I think he gives them a lot of flexibility.
Right.
And I don't think you can give all these guys flexibility anymore because especially the things that have come out in the media as far as missing practice, not showing up on time, getting to do extra stuff that other guys – I mean, you kind of got to treat the 53 guys like they have one set of rules.
Yeah.
At least that works best in my business.
Well, you remember the old Dallas Cowboy dynasties when Jimmy Johnson was their coach. He always told a story that if he was walking through a film session and Emmitt Smith was dozing off, he would tap him awake. And if it was a special teams guy, he would get cut 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
So, the superstars always get that privilege because, truthfully, they have earned that right. But you would like to think that he is going to shrink that gap a little bit more based on what happened.
The big difference, though, what happens with the Patriots. Sounds like everybody gets treated the same.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
nobody gets I mean, if you're not following the way they want you to do things, you're not going to be on that team.
My guess is those guys aren't sleeping anyway.
No.
Yeah.
They better not.
Yeah, those are the kind of guys.
And they're not going to be late.
Those are the guys they draft.
They're not going to be late. And look at who the Steelers drafted this year. Look at the kind of guy they went after. I mean, they went after guys that don't get in trouble.
Character.
Seem like they're team players. They all work a lot, work ethic. At least that's what they were talking about as rookies.
To parlay off the players who weren't necessarily following team rules, and let's get into Antonio Brown maybe for the last time, hopefully, because I think a lot of people in Pittsburgh are sick of hearing about him. But one more thing about him in that, do you believe that his legacy or the way he's viewed throughout the NHL or the NFL has been greatly tarnished, or is it not a big deal across the NFL community as a whole when it's just here in Pittsburgh? Which
I think, of course, Pittsburgh overblows it a little bit, but I mean, the public knows his reputation and they accept it. I mean, he's AB. He's always done different things. He's always kind of did what he wanted to do, and he's big time on social media. I mean, I think you can agree or disagree with his social media and his beef with other players, but the bottom line is he's been the most productive wide receiver in the NFL for the last 5 or 6 years.
And that's it. That's the key right there, is his issues or his reputation taking a beating is definitely what I feel to be a localized problem, because we are here. We hear everything he does. I don't know if they know about it in Oakland or Green Bay or in Miami like we do here. Maybe Miami's from there, but not like we do here. If he goes to Oakland and he burns another locker room and he doesn't put up numbers, then it's going to be he's the problem. Yeah. Right now, it could have just been a bad situation. If he goes there and he's a great teammate and still puts up these elite numbers, then there's nothing you can say about it.
Well, I mean, I think we all know it was probably most of his beef was about money, right? I mean, he wanted signing bonus. He wanted guaranteed money, which I'm all for. I mean, football players should get as much guaranteed money as they can, because those guys put their life on the line.
Literally every play.
When they're playing. Now, does anybody question his work ethic? No. Do they question whether he's a team player? Yeah. I mean,
you hear that about wide receivers every so often?
Everybody wants the ball.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Everybody wants the ball. Just like basketball. Everybody, you got 2 or 3 good guys, they all want the ball.
That's an alpha position for sure. They all, and they're that good. Antonio Brown is that good because he's an alpha. And sometimes that alpha does not translate into being the best teammate. And this could be one of those situations. But that's to be determined in Oakland, I would assume.
I think it's very clear that Steelers would be a better team on the field with AB in the huddle.
Right. Agreed.
Now, the question is going to be at the end of the year, did some teams make some mistakes by not giving up more than a 3rd-round pick to get him? I mean, is that guy – he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Is that worth a little bit more than what we got?
We'll find out, right?
We will find out.
Let's move to baseball. Pirates are in home tonight. Texas Rangers, 3-game stand, another interleague series. And despite being the most injured team in baseball or at least in the National League Central for the first month, they're game over 500, only 3.5 games back. What do you make of what you've seen for the Pirates through at least the first month?
Well, I would have to think that most prognosticators kind of put the Pirates as a 500 team this upcoming year. I think everybody agreed they have a really solid rotation. They have some real big deficiencies offensively. I don't know that those are being addressed. I think that, we'll get into it a little bit later about some guys that may have been stepping up that they were hopeful would step up. But I think everybody kind of projected them to be a 500 team. And whether they win 5 in a row and then lose 8 in a row and then win 3 out of 4, I think that's kind of where they're going to hover out throughout most of the 2019 campaign. They're going to be a 500 team.
500 is good for that team.
With that payroll, it's ridiculously good, right? I mean, you talk about value for your dollar, but we want more than that as fans. We don't want 500. We want to be in the playoffs. We want a pennant. We want a World Series. And I don't know that the bang for the buck is a good fan model. I think it's a much better ownership.
I totally disagree with how much money they spend and the players they. I mean, I think they should have addressed third base. I think they should have addressed shortstop, second base. Kept Frazier I like Frazier in the outfield. I love his bat. But I mean, you could say the Pirates' first 15 games. What did they could have won every one except 2. I mean, they really could have been 13-2, 12-3, something like that, because their starting pitching at the beginning of the year was
lights out. Yeah,
lights out.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't get better.
All right. Speaking, we'll get into that. Through the first month of the season, give me your best or your best thing you saw out of the Pirates and the worst thing you saw for the month of April.
I mean, the starting pitching as a whole has been fantastic. Josh Bell has been hitting the ball as good as anybody in the league. I mean, that's the good part.
I like Bell. Bell is on my list too. Josh Bell is on my list as definitely as being one of the pluses. He's on a 40 home run pace. He's hitting the ball a lot harder this year than he did last year, and he took some heat in the offseason. There was an anonymous general manager that called him soft or something, some derogatory term. So he had to go out and prove himself. He's a big guy. He should be hitting for power. And right now he has 8 home runs right now, I believe, which projects to 40, 41 home runs throughout the course of the year. We're 20% in. But Josh Bell has been a really good story so far, in addition to pitching. I think everybody kind of thought that was going to come.
Yeah, Josh does our TV commercials for Beaver County Auto, and we met him before, right when the season started. He put some time in the gym this offseason.
He's a good guy, too.
He's a great guy.
Quality human being,
He's
very much
great,
so, yes.
Great guy. And But you could see he put the work in. Now, I don't know how much weight he gained, but it was all muscle. And you can see when he's hitting. I mean, he looks very confident, and he's hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
What don't you like that you've seen so far?
What don't I like? I don't like our production at third base. The shortstop, second base, I think that's still a question mark. Now, the injuries have made us bring up the young guy a lot sooner. Tucker. He's probably going to be they were, I'm sure, hoping at least next year was going to be his year. But now they throw him let's see what he can do.
He looks like he's 12, right? Like, he looks so young out there. But if you're asking me, I think Archer has been a huge, I don't want to say disappointment because he has not even been here for a full year yet. But you expect so much more from what they gave up to get a guy like Archer. They gave up a guy that's pitching great right now in the American League, and they gave up 2 really good prospects. And you'd like to see them get more out of Archer than they're getting, and gone. You didn't know what you were going to get out of him coming off of the suspension and the legal troubles and all the issues that he had. But right now, what's he batting right now? 119, something in that range, 109, something ridiculously low like that. Those have been disappointing. But, the Archer thing sticks out to me because you wanted him to be a 1 or a 2. And right now, man,
it's looking like we lost that trade right now.
Right now, that's, It's
looking
absolutely. They got us on that one.
Glasnow couldn't find a home plate when he pitched for us, and now he's 5-0, 6-0, Cy Young.
And Tampa's no dummy organization, right? They're on the cutting edge of all kind of little gimmicky things that they do. And you got to kind of figure, if they're giving you a guy,
I read a really good
article. They get all they put out of them, right?
Do not trade with Tampa Bay because you're going to lose.
It's like trading with the Penguins or trading with the Patriots. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Another negative, I don't know if it's a negative, but it's just the reality of where we are right now with the Pirates. And to be fair to the Pirates, though, I saw something that attendance throughout baseball for the first month was awful.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates aren't the only team going through this, but we talk about it a lot because of ownership. Where do you place that at? Do you blame fans not showing up for their dislike of Bob Nutting? The month of April was awful for weather. That could be another thing. And the other thing is, over the years, historically, fans just don't show up until the end of May, June, when it starts getting warm.
Well, I think you hit on it with weather. Yeah, that's it too. School. Kids are in school in April and May. So you're not going to get a boom in attendance. And I personally, I would like to see if attendance at all professional sports have taken a dip because of the access that we have to every statistic, every play, every at-bat, every shot. You can pick up your phone right now and watch any game you want to if you have the right data package. So why go through the $20 beer and the $50 to get into the game in the park? And why spend $400 when it's you and your son and your wife at a game when you could watch it on a high def? That's another thing I think hurts people is the high definition TV. You used to not be able to see the ball or the puck. Now it's better than being there, you know? So I don't, other than the experience, and for a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of middle class people, which is what I am, a Pirate game is a big deal. So that's not something we could do weekly as a family. That's something we could do once or twice a year budgetarily. And I think the expense of the game has something to do with the attendance. And some people are mad about ownership. I mean, they're going to do their own protest.
I mean, I'm a baseball fan. My dad's a baseball. I mean, I grew up playing baseball. Friends of mine, we like baseball. I don't have any of them that are a big fan of Bob Nutting, just because they see what are we at right now? 70 million, 75 million payroll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, another 20, 25 million. You got a shortstop, you get a third baseman, you get a second baseman, maybe another starter. And our starters have been fantastic. Spend 100 million, 120 because what are the Yankees?
200.
Yeah. The good teams are over 200 million. Yeah, Dodgers every year. I mean, but we're right there with them. The Cubs are a couple games ahead of us. St. Louis a couple games ahead of us. They spend substantially more money.
You should just add one more bat, two more bats.
And our
You're right
pitching
there
is
with our
arguably as
pitching,
good as
yes.
anybody.
Agreed.
So why not? But we'll see if they make some trades. Maybe they make some trades in the middle of the year. I don't know.
Yeah, so that could be it. There could be some people that are just upset with the way things are being run, and they're not going to put their money into his pocket when he's not putting it back into the product.
All right, last topic here on Sports Drive with PJ and Doug. We're going to get back into your wheelhouse here, Doug, and that's NBA playoffs. I know you're a teacher, so you're not watching the late night games, but you might catch the 7:30 or 8 o'clock games. Just thoughts on the playoffs, and who are you rooting for? Are you a team? Are you a guy that likes the dominant team with Golden State, or would you like to see some new blood thrown in?
I have always been a believer that leagues are better when there is a dynasty. The NFL's better with the Patriots. It's just UCLA back in the day, made college, but you want to have that bad guy that you can beat. The Yankees, obviously, is an easy example in baseball. This NBA playoffs, the first round, quite honestly, was a little bit disappointing. I thought that the games just had no flow to it, which I think is another thing in sports these days. I think they're overly officiated and overly replayed, and there is really no flow to a lot of games. The second round I thought was going to be good, and it's delivering right now. You have Houston and Golden State that's tied 2 apiece. You have the Greek freak, Giannis, who's just putting on an absolute show right now. To me, I always look at how do you guard somebody. I don't know what you do with a guy like that.
Who's going to guard him?
7'4" or whatever wingspan, and he has the moves of a guard. He's like Dirk Nowitzki, only super athletic. I think it's kind of interesting to see what's going on with Kyrie Irving and his teammates in Boston right now. I saw Jalen Rose on TV today, and he kind of said he thinks that his teammates are going to help him pack at the end of this year. Like it wasn't a good looking game last night for a must win. It looked like a lot of LeBron in his end of his Cleveland days. It looked like he was already out the door, which I hope not, because I'm a huge Kyrie Irving fan. And I really like Kawhi Leonard right now. I think he is reestablishing himself. You talk about the Antonio Brown thing. He did something similar to the Spurs. Like, I'm tired of being here. They questioned my injury. He said, you guys question my injury. I'm not playing for you anymore. Yeah, do what you got to do, and I'm not playing for you anymore.
And he got paid, I think.
And he got paid, and now he's really showing out in Toronto. And he may stay, may leave. You know, there's a lot of free agency coming up. But the drama with the playoffs is really kicking in right now in the second round. But I don't have a favorite team. I just like, what? You know, that depends on the point spread, quite honestly. That's on a day-to-day basis. But I am a big fan of the Milwaukee Bucks, the way they constructed their team. They're a good defensive team. They have some old-school type of guys that go into the post and shoot mid-range. So I kind of like the way they're doing things. And I think it's time for the East to win something. You know, I don't want to see Golden State. Golden State looks susceptible this year. They have not looked this susceptible in a couple of years. They look like they can be had because, again, Kevin Durant, where's he going next year? Is he going to the Knicks? Is he staying here? And when you don't know where your guy is going to be next year, it's hard to go to war with those guys. You know, so I think that's hurting them a bit as well.
Who are you rooting for, PJ?
I'm rooting for anybody except Golden State and Philly.
You don't like Philly.
I don't like Philly in any
right?
sport.
Yeah.
Not any
Did
sport.
you like Rocky? Did you like the Rocky movies?
I love Rocky.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I got one question, though. You're Golden State's coach. How does Durant not touch the ball every other time down the court? I mean, they
Because you have Steph Curry and
I know,
Klay
but-
Thompson.
but
they
when
can touch it
Durant's
too.
hot,
yeah, I know.
he's unstoppable. You can't stop the guy. Just like Kawhi.
Totally
you
agree.
can't stop him.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Clay's
Now you're
kind
talking
of
about
like-
egos, though. You're talking about
Clay's
Steph
not
Curry.
shooting real good right now.
It's a 2-time MVP. He wants his looks too.
I get it.
Well, then you answered your question.
I get it. But I mean,
That's why.
when he makes 3 shots in a row, I would
Fourth.
Yeah, defer to the 7 foot.
just
Steph
at least
Curry.
let him touch the ball before one of the other guys. And I'm not a big NBA guy. I'm more of a hockey guy. And with the Penguins getting out early, I have been watching more of these games. And like I told you guys before, I mean, there is so much talent in the NBA.
It's
You know, this Jokic guy in Denver, Lillard in Portland.
Weaver
You know,
State
Kawhi,
guy, small college.
Giannis,
It's
Harden.
fun. It's fun playoffs this year. It really is. The tournament was fun. The NCAA tournament was fun. This kind of has that feel to it.
All right, guys. Well, this was fun. We'll do it again next month. We're gonna do it on a remote location. We're gonna tease you. We're gonna take you to a place that I know you're gonna find interesting. So stay tuned for that in the month of June. But we appreciate Sports Drive with PJ and Doug live from Beaver County Auto out in Chippewa. If you need a new ride, there's no one better to check out than BeaverCountyAuto.com. Come out and see PJ and tell him about you heard it on Pittsburgh Sports Now. We'll see you guys next month.
Hi, this is PJ from Beaver County Auto. I want to let everybody know of our locations. We have the Nissan store and the Dodge Chrysler Jeep store here in Chippewa. That's BeaverCountyAuto.com. We have the Hancock County Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram store in Newell, West Virginia. We have the Shenango Auto Mall in Newcastle. We have the Route 228 Auto Mall up in the Cranberry area, Adams Township. And we have the Beaver Valley Auto Mall located here in Monaca at the Beaver Valley Mall. Together we have over 1,000 vehicles. We have guaranteed credit approval and lifetime powertrain warranties on all our vehicles. Stop in today.